Good morning, Internet. Once again, I've gotten 2/3 of the way through a process before realizing that I haven't actually shown you any of the process. Worst vlogger ever. Anyway, welcome to pruning day. Because these trees are so overgrown, it's been a multi-year process to hopefully get them back where they need to be. Last year, the focus was just removing anything that was dead, damaged, diseased, or crossing over. So if branches touched each other, they rub the bark off as they grow and move around in the wind, and it hurts them. So it took those out. And that was a large chunk of a lot of the trees, so I kind of had to stop there. This year, what I'm trying to do is reshape them, starting with height. I'm like 5'8". If I can't reach something from the third, maybe the fourth rung of the ladder, it doesn't need to be there. So number one is just bringing everything back down to a manageable height. After that, we're going to open up space between the branches, make sure there are well-defined scaffolds or layers of branches, and make sure there are avenues for light and air between all parts of the tree.
Greetings from the distant past. I have time traveled from July of 2023 to bring you an important PSA. First off, hydrate. It's damn hot out. Second, the more I observe in my orchard this summer, the more I am coming to the personal opinion that the best thing you can do for fruit trees is to prune the shit out of them. When I was reading up earlier this year, every reference I was finding said that you should never prune more than 1/3 of the canopy at a time. And this made sense to me because you need leaves to photosynthesize. So I took out about 1/3 of every canopy, and lo and behold, they are still overgrown. This means that I cannot reach the uppermost parts of most of my trees. If I cannot reach them, I cannot do things like remove last year's fruit mummies, check the bark for infectious cankers, or properly prune out broken branches. So 6 months later, this summer, I'm seeing the repercussions of this. Number one, every single stone fruit tree here has come down with a fungal infection called brown rot. This hides in the fruitlets, in the fruit drops. It hides in cankers in the bark. And it spreads like wildfire, especially when the weather has been warm and wet like it has this year. The number one way you combat this is by keeping the tree well pruned, keeping the canopy open so sunlight and air, wind, can dry out the branches and leaves and the fungus doesn't grow. So all the peaches are gone. I also found out that we are home to a robust population of Japanese beetles. They started up at the front of the orchard on my cherry trees, which I have read are a favorite of theirs. They moved backwards in almost a systematic fashion, like from one tree to another, until they got to the section with the peach trees, because, I read, they are attracted to the smell of rotting fruit. So man, it would have been nice to keep the rotting fruit out of the orchard, you know? Now instead of a handful of troubled trees, I have half the orchard that I'm going to need to treat for beetles. Also, because I couldn't reach a lot of the uppermost branches to thin the fruit, the I mean, it's a great problem to have. We have a lot of fruit, but the fruit is heavy now that it's growing, and the taller, longer branches up top are bending over and breaking. Every time the wind blows, it seems, the pears especially are just shedding branches, and they're breaking in huge, jagged tears, and I can't reach that high to cut them evenly. So they're not going to heal well. It's kind of the difference between having a nice, clean surgical incision and a shrapnel wound. Let me show you. This is one of my problem children. Look at that mess. I can't reach that. You just gotta sit there and think about what you did. Look at all the mess down there. Here's another fine example. See how the top, the leader, is just curled straight over in a C shape? That's not supposed to happen. Also, these two that have broken and they're pointing straight down, they're not supposed to do that either. But hey, pears.
I know it looks kind of mean, what I just did to the poor little tree. I just cut off its head, butchered it, very bad. But I promise it's going to grow back. And maybe not as quickly as the pears. This is an apple, but by next year it is going to have healed up that cut and produced a little, damn it. It's going to send up new shoots from that area. I know the light is not cooperating with me, but this is an example from last year. I took out a pretty sizable branch right here, and you can see how the branch collar has kind of started growing over the cut. That's what we're looking for. That's why we try to make nice, smooth, flat cuts. And then that was last year, and it's already sent up these beautiful little shoots from that spot and just below it as well. So it'll bounce back. And what will happen is by next year, I'll select the most centered, straightest, tallest one that's not too vigorous, and we'll call that the new central leader. That'll be the new top of the tree. Here's the cut I just made, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but it's at just a little bit of an angle. Oh, there we go. A little bit of an angle. Doesn't have to be huge, but just enough to keep water from pooling on top. That's important because, I'm going to tell on myself here, this is a cut I made last year, same tree, similar sized branch, except I made it a little too flat, and you can tell that the bark is not growing up over the cut the way it should be, and it's got a little bit of looks like a bacterial infection going on. I'm going to have to keep an eye on this because you see little bugs are getting up in there. It's not like completely rotted through or anything, but that's not what good healing looks like. My bad, but now we know.
Good morning. Battery died, so welcome to tomorrow. Happy New Year. So this tree is not exactly the way I want it to look. I can't quite call it good or finished, but we're at a good stopping point for this year. It's a manageable height, and I can see daylight through the branches. You want to be able to see daylight and blue sky through the branches, looking at it sideways and looking up from underneath of it.
Whoa, so much more room for activities. And by activities, I mean sunlight filtration and airflow. I always try to cut a limb about 6 to 8 inches higher than where I actually want it to come out, just in case it rips. You know, the bark rips like it kind of has. It actually, this one's not too bad, but I'm gonna cut this stub down to, yay, right where it meets with the other branch. Now that it's on the ground, you get a much better look at just how tangled up and overgrown the thing was. Branches shouldn't be rubbing into each other, crossing over each other. There's a whole lot of fungus up in there. Look, there's a branch at the back that looks like it's got the, oh my god, what's it called? Blight, fire blight. It's all black and crunchy looking. It was a good thing. Sad, but a good thing. We got all this out of here. There we go. Nice and smooth. Oh my god, go home, tree. You are drunk. Trying to play it off, but I'm like really upset right now. So that's not a normal angle for a tiny tree to be at. Couple of reasons I'm thinking this might have happened. Whoops. Excuse me, friend. Oh, Lordy. So, for whatever reason, the tree might not have developed a nice... Whoops. Shit. I'm gonna have to stake it in place and just pray that no major roots are broken. I can almost guarantee they are.